Well, hello, everybody. This is Dave Little coming to you from the Dave Cave. And I thought we would take some time here tonight to, as we have talked about, show some of the stuff I use to organize my federation, the Heartland Championship Wrestling. There have been some questions about this from folks on our weekly broadcasts. And so I thought about making a recording, but what the heck? I'll just show this live, and if anybody wanders by with questions, great. If not, you all can catch this recording and see what types of things that you may have had questions about during my weekly wrestling broadcasts using the Legends of Wrestling cards and dice game published by Filsinger Games, my favorite tabletop game of all time. I would have to say, been playing this since 2006. So, to start things off, I will take you to my spreadsheet that I use to keep track of my federations. So hopefully you all can see this now. Looks like it is on screen. So we should be good to go. And if I check in here, yeah, here's the spreadsheet that I use in order to keep track of my my feds. I run 4 territories, and I keep track of the 4 territories here on this page. The Atlantic Wrestling Federation, and these are the arenas that I use: Miami, Augusta, Tampa, Mobile, Birmingham, Atlanta, Charlotte, Raleigh, Orlando, Greensboro. Pro Wrestling Mid-America runs the Central States, Texas, St. Louis, Kansas City, Memphis, Nashville, some of the great towns from the days of both the AWA and also the Texas Wrestling Federation's World Class Championship Wrestling, Central States, and Mid-South, of course. Patriot Championship Wrestling runs the Northeast, sort of WWF/WWE territory. And I wish Facebook would stop squawking at me, because there's a group chat going on that keeps popping up on the screen. And finally, then I run my Ladies Federation, Heartland Ladies Wrestling. And this runs in Chicago, Milwaukee, Detroit, sort of the Midwest area. Been thinking about doing some things differently with that in the coming year. Maybe mix things up a little in terms of where folks go, and mix things up also in terms of what more cross promotion between the federations. Hello, Dwayne. Thank you for jumping in here tonight. Good to see you. Just answering and asking a few questions about how I organize my wrestling federation. So you have seen the territories, sort of Northeast, Southeast, Middle America, and then the ladies wrestling that runs in the Midwest. Now, for each month, I will set up 8 cards. I run shows every Wednesday and Saturday. The Saturday shows are the big ones, sort of the TV broadcast type of shows, and the Wednesday night show has more of a house show feel to it. So each month, each 4-week cycle, I will run 2 shows for each of my feds, one on a Wednesday and one on a Saturday. And those go on this page of the spreadsheet. Here is the month that we are currently working on. We started with card number 1257, and in the notes section of each cell, I put the date and the arena, and I just rotate through the cities and towns that I had listed on the Feds page that we just saw. And from there, I rotate things, and the Saturday night tends to be the bigger city, and the Wednesday nights we do the smaller towns. So for the ladies, they started in Cincinnati and Cleveland, and for Patriot, they started in Buffalo, the smaller town, and went to Baltimore. And as you can see, as we go through the rest of the month, here is our Pro Wrestling Mid-America and Atlantic Wrestling Federation shows. And then every month there is a pay-per-view coming up on January the 13th. You can see that our next pay-per-view will be in the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York City under the title I Walk Alone. So for each of the territories, I have matches planned. And there are different colors of cells that indicate each different type of match. The white and black cells are just the standard matches. The red cells are the championship matches. So this was Nicole Matthews facing cheerleader Melissa for the Heartland Ladies Championship at the Cincinnati show, and that ended with Nicole winning by disqualification. After the match, I put in bold the wrestler who won. The blue cells are the grudge matches, so we saw Portia Perez defeat Lufisto in a grudge match. The darker green matches with italics, these are the number one contenders matches. So we had a number one contenders match for the Patriot Tag Team Championship with the British Bulldogs taking on the Rock and Roll Express. And as you can see by the bold lettering, the British Bulldogs won that match. And you can see that by virtue of the Bulldogs winning this match, they move on to the pay-per-view, where they will take on the Fantastics for the Patriot Tag Team Championship. That should be a good match. So that is the starters for how we do that. Now, in terms of how I decide who is going to be in which matches, the one other match I'll show is the lighter green. These are the qualifying matches for the contenders match. So how do we figure this all out? The way I do this is by using 3x5 cards. I know this is getting more and more complicated. I use 3x5 cards to keep track of the wrestlers in each of my territories. So if we go to let's go to the tabletop. Yeah, if we go to this camera, move some things around, I have some 3x5 cards here. These are the 3x5 cards for the Heartland Ladies Wrestling Territory. And you can see on each of the cards the name of the wrestler, wins and losses. The white cards are the single wrestlers, Sarah Del Rey, Nicole Matthews, Kelly Klein, etc. And then I use the colored cards for tag teams. Here are the Kimber Bombs, the Allure, the Vachons, etc. Excuse me. So how this works is as follows. I set up my matches at the beginning of each new section by laying out the cards from highest to lowest in terms of the total wins. So for example, Deonna Purrazzo has 4 wins. Allison Danger has 5 wins. She'll go higher. Killer Kelly has 6 wins. She goes even higher. Candice LeRae only has 1 win, so she goes down here at the bottom. And then based upon those sortings, whoever has the most wins, that's how I determine who enters which matches. When I need a number 1 contender, I will take the top 4 out of this stack, and I will put them in these qualifying matches like we see like we see here, this match between the Kimber Bombs versus Tessa Blanchard and Vanessa Craven. Those two were in the top 4, so that becomes a qualifying match. And last set, we had another tag team qualifying match in the ladies division. That was the Allure versus Alley Cat and Jody Threat. So the Allure won the first qualifying match. The Kimber Bombs won the second qualifying match. And so they both qualify for the number 1 contenders match that you see listed here, Allure versus Kimber Bombs. And after those teams square off, the winner of that match will be the number 1 contender for the Heartland Ladies Tag Team Championship match. And they will be booked to face the champions. See, we've already got a title match lined up here. Malia Hosaka and Jazz, the tag team champions, to face Mercedes Martinez and Nicole Savoy. So that's how we get the contenders. If you are not in the top 4, then the remaining ones we lay out basically by, I'll have a stack of baby faces and a stack of heels, and I will randomly throw a baby face and a heel together in these matches. For example, Candice LeRae and Holidead, Trish Adora and Genocide, Jessica Havoc and Jacqueline. These were the random pairings of the wrestlers that are not in the top 4. And as you have more of those matches and win more of those matches, you move up in the standings. That is how that works. And let's see, Kathy Evans is here. Hello. Yeah, really detailed. Thanks, Dwayne. That's everything I do is really detailed. So we've got this big stack of wrestlers. Where did these come from? For each of my territories, I like to have about 20 singles wrestlers and about 10 tag teams. And that will give me a couple of champions and a couple of, extra spots for injuries and people who are out of action for whatever reason. And then I will end up at the beginning of each set with about 16 eligible singles wrestlers and about 8 eligible tag teams. As we pair those off, wrestlers will come and go from the federation. There are 3 ways I determine that. First of all, any wrestler who gets 4 games below 500 or 4 matches below 500 is eliminated. So if you go 0-4, 1-5, 2-6, then you lose your contract and you get replaced by somebody new coming in. Anybody who has had 10 matches and has a losing record is also removed. So if you go 4-6, you are removed, and usually that takes about a year. Everybody gets about 10 matches a year. And if you're removed from the federation, then you get replaced. The third way you get eliminated is if you have a total of 15 matches and you're not in contention for a title, you can get removed. So I'm constantly recycling the wrestlers through each of the territories. If you do make it to 15 matches and you go back to 0, or if you and you're not in title contention, or if you hold a title and lose the title, you can go back to 0 and start over again, depending upon your popularity and how much heat you have. Here's an example. Sarah Del Rey had a run in HLW from October of 2019 to November of 2020. The black marks are the standard matches. The green tick marks are the contenders matches. The red tick marks are the championship matches. And Sarah Del Rey actually won the Heartland Ladies Championship back in 2020. And so when she lost the title, she wasn't just kicked out of the federation, but she went back to zero and had to start all over again. At zero and work her way back up into contention. So Sarah has had a couple of different runs. Kelly Klein, very popular, successful wrestler, is on her third run, and she has had a long run with the Heartland Mistress of Mayhem Championship. So that's why she's got all these victories stacked up here, and now she has qualified for the title, and is going to be challenging for the title on our next pay-per-view. So that is how wrestlers come and go. And I use the 3x5 card system to keep track of who's in and who is out. Okay, so that is how we do the matchmaking. 4 territories, 20 singles wrestlers, and 10 tag teams per territory. You work your way up from the bottom to the top of the standings, and if you get high enough in the standings, you get a qualifying match. The winners of the qualifying match get the #1 contenders match, and the winner of that gets a title shot. I do not decide title shots based on feuds, and that's different from standard wrestling booking. I'm just not that good at doing feuds, to be quite honest. I have done a lot of replays of a lot of different things over the years, baseball, basketball, other regular sports, and I'm very accustomed to doing things with playoffs, and the winners of the playoffs get to the championships, and I kind of fashion my wrestling feds the same way. Okay, so that is how the matchmaking works and how the territory structures work. The other questions I've gotten are, how do I determine my rankings from month to month? After each pay-per-view, or after each month, after each set of, let's go back to the Excel sheet here. After each monthly set of matches and the pay-per-view, I will recalculate the top 10. And that's also a very detailed process that takes a couple of steps. I will print this page that has all my results on it now, and then I will enter those results into a separate spreadsheet, which is the score sheet. And you can see here on the score sheet, I have each of the active wrestlers in a column here. LS stands for ladies singles. I also have ladies tag team, NWA singles, and NWA tag teams. So all of my active competitors go into the score sheet, and then I record their wins and losses. And each match has a system of points attached to it. Using a point system that I stole from Jeff Manning, aka Jay Mello. Here is the Jeff Manning point system. A win is worth 5 points. A disqualification win is worth 3 points. A count-out win is worth 1 point, and so on. And then I give bonuses for winning a championship, defending the championship successfully, and then I also add a champion's bonus to each person on the score sheet at the end of each month, and this is what the score sheet will look like. So, for example, for the For the last set of matches, if we look at let's look at Deanna Purrazzo. She had one win, and in that one win, she captured the Mistress of Mayhem Championship. So she got 5 points for the title win, and at the end of the month, she got another 8-point bonus for being the title holder. So she had a total of 1 win, no losses, and 18 points in that month. I started doing the bonuses for champions because in a lot of situations, a month may go by and the champion doesn't defend the title or doesn't wrestle as frequently because they're waiting for the contenders to work their way up through the ranks to earn the titles. And so giving a bonus to the title holders will keep the title holders higher up in the standings when the final rankings come out. And after I have put all of these points in play, I end up with wins and losses and the number of points over the course of the month. And I put those numbers back into the, let's go here, into the standings section of the spreadsheet. And here you can see the section of matches from 1249 through 1256. And if we go back up to the top here, we'll find, let's see, these are sorted by heat. So let's quickly resort those so that they look like the standings. In order to generate the standings, I sort by Fed, then by last 3, then by career total. So here we see the ladies' top 10. Nicole Matthews, number 1. Over the last 3 months, she has 36 points. And that's the highest total. So the rankings on any given month are the running total over the last 3 months of how they've been doing. So actually Deanna Purrazzo accumulated more points in this last month by virtue of her title victory. But because Nicole Matthews has been accumulating more points over the last 3 months, she comes up out on top in the rankings. And these are the top 10 of the ladies singles, and then those go into the top 10 that gets posted at the Felsinger message board. Also in the past, I have called out this yellow column, which is heat. This indicates the relative popularity or hatred of any given wrestler. You see here Evilise, who's the biggest heel in the Heartland right now, has a minus 14, so she is the most hated wrestler in the Heartland. Most popular among the ladies wrestlers is Kelly Klein with the heat of plus 7. Kelly had a long run as the Mistress of Mayhem champion and just proved herself to be a complete badass and beat down some pretty tough challengers and sort of evolved into that role over the course of her title reign. As we have mentioned at the end of each show, not only do I assign the winners and losers, but I also assign the points. So earlier this month in Cincinnati, the team of the Vachons, Luna Vachon and Vivian Vachon, got disqualified in their match against Cora and Debbie Cones. They got a -1 on their heat rating. Nicole Matthews and Portia Perez, the Canadian Ninjas, were up to some shenanigans that also cost them, or actually added to their heat. And so the heat then becomes something else I track for the most popular and the most hated. So that is how we do our rankings from month to month. Let's jump back into the chat. Oh gosh, wow, everybody's here. Our Red Sox fan is here. Referee James Lawrence III. Philip Reynolds. And so yeah, any questions you have about how I run my Heartland territory, now's the time. People have been asking about this on the broadcasts. Question from Philip Reynolds: what game are you going to learn for 2024? I'm glad you asked. My most recent game that I acquired is Let's Play Tennis. I am enjoying that on the tabletop as kind of a side project. For those of you who don't know, I run a very involved Stratomatic computer basketball league. 18 teams are in that league. We have a draft, we have free agency, and between my Strat basketball commissioner duties and Heartland Championship Wrestling, that takes up pretty much all of my leisure time during the active basketball season, which is usually December through April. But when I do get a little time, I like to have a little side project I do just to relax. And I just finished a payoff pitch baseball project, and from there I have launched into my new project, which is Let's Play Tennis. Okay, last thing I'll show before I shut down. We've been at it about a half an hour. The last thing I will show is my history spreadsheet. Let's see, and I think I'm still on the monitor. Yeah, so you all see my history spreadsheet. And this is where I keep all of my title histories. So here is the NWA Heavyweight Championship. That belt is currently held by Ric Flair. It is his fourth title reign, which began on September the 16th of 2023, when he captured the title from Terry Funk, who had held it from August until September. Ric Flair before that, Bryan Danielson, and you can go all the way back to 2006 with some of these titles. Actually, I think that my current iteration of the NWA World Championship was established in September of 2018, so that's had about a 5-year run now with a number of different champions. The tag team champions, Jack and Jerry Briscoe. Then my various territory champions, from the Atlantic Heavyweight Championship to Pro Wrestling Mid-America to Patriot Heavyweight Championship, and then and then on this other tab I have the Ladies Championships, and my Ladies Championships go all the way back to 2009. There's Sarah Del Rey winning her first Heartland Ladies Championship back in September of 2009. Also on this page I have my awards. Going back to 2008, the Wrestler of the Year was first won by Bruiser Brody back in the day, and you can see all of the other folks who have won the Wrestler of the Year honors over the years. Tag Team of the Year, Ladies Wrestler of the Year goes back to 2010. Cheerleader Melissa has won that puppy 6 times. That has been very impressive. Ladies Tag Team of the Year, the Match of the Year, the Feud of the Year, and then the Filsinger Cup Awards, and the Ladder Match, and the Buckeye Bowl. So all of my history of all of the specialty matches over the course of the years are listed here. And finally, the pay-per-views. All 174 of them are listed here. The way my pay-per-views work, I have the big 4 every year. Buckeye Bowl is traditionally the January 1st. Then in the spring, I'll have Dawn of Destiny, which corresponds roughly to opening day of the baseball season. I have the Freedom Festival on or about the 4th of July. And then the Tournament of Champions, usually in October, which is the month that Heartland Wrestling kicked off. And so those are my big 4. In between times, I'll have the smaller pay-per-views, kind of the Clash of Champions type things. And those will rotate. And as you've seen, the next one is scheduled for January in New York City. All right, I think that's about everything I have to show. Any other questions from you all in terms of stuff that you've seen on the broadcast, or how I manage my titles, or how I manage my my federation? If not, we'll give this another 15 or 30 seconds or so before we log off. I'm sure there's lots of exciting stuff going on around YouTube tonight. I know Dave Gardner's up to something, and Rob exclamation point was up to something. But yeah. So anytime you have questions on a Saturday, please chime in. I will not be on the air this Saturday, probably not, since I don't have a match scheduled. But on Monday, I am going to do the Royal Rumble. That will not be televised because that takes a long, long time to do. I think this year I'm going to try and do that using the squared circle methodology that St. Patrick has developed. How do you do grudge matches and rematches? Says Dwayne Martz. That's a great question. I do my grudge matches based upon stuff that happens in the storylines. So, for example, anytime there is a disqualification, I have a disqualification table that says what happens. Maybe the fight escalates, and there is a brawl after the match, and maybe as a result of the brawl, I'll decide to schedule a grudge match. Maybe there has been outside interference involved in a match. As you know, I use my out of the ring again tables a lot, and a lot of times tables and chairs and things get involved, and so anytime the mood kind of feels right, I'll schedule a grudge match. And anytime I schedule a grudge match, there's always extra heat points attached to that. And as wrestlers gain heat, I mentioned that I have my secondary titles in my federation, the Dixie Heavyweight Championship down south, the Mistress of Mayhem Championship in the ladies division. The contenders for those championships are chosen based on heat. Whoever has the highest, the most popularity or the most heat at any given point in time can challenge for one of the secondary titles. And then if you win a secondary title, once you surrender that title, you automatically qualify for a shot at the main territory title. See, I just kind of play feud matches, grudge matches, and rematches I just sort of ad-lib those as we go along. Any major changes planned for your feds in the future? One of the things I want to do, Salvador, thanks for your question, and thanks for stopping in tonight. One of the things I want to do in 2024 is get more interplay between the federations. And if you've watched the last couple of weeks, there's this evolving group of wrestlers calling themselves Justice for All. And we've had a Justice for All group spring up both in the Patriot Championship Wrestling up north and also in Pro Wrestling Mid-America. And I'm planning a Justice for All branch in Atlantic Wrestling Federation, and that one's going to be scheduled around the coming of Wahoo McDaniel. I just got my new Wahoo McDaniel card. I'm very excited about that. And Wahoo is going to be brought into the Atlantic Wrestling Federation as a babyface, and he is going to create a faction that he's going to call Old School Justice. And Old School Justice will be affiliated with the other members of Justice for All. And they'll kind of have some cross-promotion matches and feuds and that sort of thing. The Buckeye Bowl will be a good chance to get some of that going as well. I also want to get more interplay between my standard territories and my ladies territory. And maybe have wrestlers from Heartland Ladies Wrestling join a Justice for All faction, and there's no reason why Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson couldn't run around with. Let's pick somebody really popular out of, let's say a Jordan Grace who's really popular, or Evilise, who is the most hated wrestler in the Heartland. There's no reason why she couldn't turn up with Whatever We Want or one of the heel factions in one of the men's territories. I'd like to explore ways of branching out with that in the coming year. Have you thought about some kind of World Cup tournaments? Asked Salvador America. Also a great idea. I think the closest thing I have to that's been a yearly staple in my Fed is my Filsinger Cup tournament, which is every October. And how that works is that every wrestler and every tag team who has held a championship over the last 12 months is entered into a tournament. And they wrestle each other down to the finalists. And in the October pay-per-view broadcast Tournament of Champions, that's when each of the 4 Filsinger Cup tournaments concludes, and a Filsinger Cup winner is crowned in ladies tag team, ladies singles, men's tag team, and men's singles divisions. And that's really considered the most prestigious championship of the year, is the Filsinger Cup championship in October. That's not exactly the World Cup, but it's pretty close. So I do enjoy that format. All right. Well, as you can hear, I am still fighting a cold and congestion, and still a little raspy. And we've been at it here for 40 minutes. So again, come see me on Saturdays. Love to have you in attendance for those Saturday afternoon wrestling broadcasts. And whenever you have questions about how I keep track of all this mess, just say the word, and I'm happy to show you what I got. All right. Thank you again to everybody. Salvador America, our Red Sox fan, Dwayne Martz, Philip Reynolds, Kathy Evans, referee James Lawrence III. Lots of cool people here on the channel tonight, and I appreciate your support. So from the Dave Cave, this is Dave Little signing off. That's our stream, and I am out of here.